So Justin asked me how I got into weightlifting, and it's actually a pretty interesting story. So I actually got to go back to right when I first entered college. I'm towards the end of my junior year now, and as when I got to college, I had no idea what I wanted to do at all. When undeclared, I was pretty confused, and my dad just decided to try out kinesiology, the study of movement as it applies to exercise. Because I liked working out from high school. I did a lot of cross training for tennis, and I liked it a lot. So I applied for the major. But I wasn't so sure what I wanted to do with it. I thought about personal training, but I kind of got a taste of it over the summer a little bit before my junior or my sophomore year, and I didn't like it. And I was like, let's try strength and conditioning. I like working with athletes. I love doing all this work I did for tennis in high school, and I figured I'd try to stay in that vein. And so I started looking around the internet, and actually I started reading Russell's blog. And I saw that he thought Olympic weightlifting was really applicable to athletes, and I started reading more and more about it. And I was like, this stuff is awesome. I mean, it teaches you how to extend your hips and pull under fast and stabilize the heavy weight overhead and just be explosive and awesome in general. And I had absolutely no idea how to do it. And I tried teaching myself a little bit. It was really hard. And so I went ahead and I joined CrossFit Combat Fitness because they had two Olympic USAW certified coaches, and it seemed like a good place to start. And so I started learning there. And initially I just learned it because I wanted to learn it. I had no dreams of competing. I just wanted to be generally fit. I was playing around with the CrossFit stuff. I even did some CrossFit, like small local CrossFit competitions. And I started really, really liking this. The feeling of, hey, I'm taking something heavy off the floor and I'm putting it over my head and I'm standing up with it. I'm letting the world know that like I can do this. It's as close to being superhuman as I'm ever gonna come, and it's just, frankly, it's an addicting feeling. I mean, it's something I'm willing to invest 3, 4, 5 months of training for one PR. That's a lot of time for the 30 seconds where I stand up with a PR, and I feel like the strongest person in the world for that 30 seconds, and I'm willing to sacrifice for that. And so I started really falling in love with this sport. I mean, more so than tennis or anything else I've ever done. Just it clicks me as a fit. It clicks for me as a person, and I'm pretty glad with that. And so I've said I've been training weightlifting seriously now for about a little over a year and a half, and I'm pretty happy with it, and I love it. And yeah, that's how I got into weightlifting. And there's a lot more story to the story than that. I kind of met up with Autumn, and she's my coach now, dedicated coach, and she taught me everything. I'll talk about it a little bit more later. But that's where I am. That's how I got in the sport, and I intend to be in the sport for the remainder of my life, at the very least. The final question I got was from Mr. Blue Lupins about regarding my goals, both long term and short term. And so when I talk about my goals, I kind of have to split it among the three. And so I'll address two of the three today. So in terms of weightlifting, just as an athlete, what my goals are. Short term, I'm qualified for university nationals right now, and so all my training is going towards I'm going to university nationals, and I want to perform very, very well there to the best of my ability. And so even with my coach, our whole goal right now is trying to peak for that event, and I'll probably do like another soft peak in there for another meet. But that's what I'm training for. I want to go there and I want to hit PRs in the snatch and the clean and jerk, and I want to go 5 for 6 or 6 for 6, and just go for it and do awesome and represent my college and my coach as best as I can. Thinking more long term. I've actually done a lot of thinking about this yesterday. This whole week, and what's the ultimate goal for any weightlifters? It's to go to the Olympics. And so I know I won't be at a level even think about that by 2016. I'm only a year and a half in the sport right now. But, by 2020, I'll have been in this sport, 7.5 years. I'll be about 27. And so that's about, I think at that point I'll be close to the peak of what I'll ever be. So my goal right now, long term, is to go to the Olympic trials in 2020. And go there and make at least a good representation of myself with the intent of going to the Olympics. While I get there, who knows? There's a lot of talented guys out there, who have a lot more athletic ability than I do. But I at least want to make it to the trials in 2020 and give it my best shot. Otherwise, in weightlifting, I definitely want to do national meets in the A session, in the next 4 years or so. American Open, University, or not University Nationals. I want to make it. I want to go to the A session. I want to compete with these guys I see in the videos, and I basically worship James Tatum, guys like that. I want to go out there and I want to compete against them in the A session, and it's not going to happen for a while. Probably not 4 years, but it's going to happen if I have anything to say about it. Regarding the other half of this, which is coaching goals. Right now I'm coaching at a CrossFit Combat Fitness, and I'm working with coaches at Fresno State. And my eventual goal is to go on and coach at a college level for a while. I have no interest in really going and working on professionals. I would. I mean, not to say I don't interest. That's awesome. But, I love the college setting because I get to work with 5-6 different sports. So I get to work with athletes from all these different ranges and all these different needs. A softball player programs look different than a track program, which looks different than a golf program. I think it'd be fascinating to be able to work with all these different people. And so I definitely want to go on and work in the college realm for a fair amount of my career. Would be pretty cool. And then maybe go on and work in either some type of professional sport, which I would really enjoy, or maybe go back and work at, someone's gym as a coach. I don't have a huge interest right now in thinking about opening my own exclusive gym, but there's people I know that I would be very happy working for. And so regarding coaching, that's my goal for the next 20, 30 years at least. Other goals I want to have a weightlifting club or be part of coaching a weightlifting club always. I'd eventually have loved to have some of my athletes go to nationals or something. I think that'd be really cool. But in general, I just want to help people get stronger and better at what they do. And if I can do that, I'm doing what I want to do. So thank you for all the questions, guys. I appreciate it. Some longer answers. I'll be surprised if any of you guys listen to the entire thing. But thank you. If there's actually people who enjoyed this, I'll do this more often. I think I've done a video log in a year and a half or something. But if there's interest, I'll do it. And I enjoyed answering these questions. So it's off to get breakfast for me now, and I have to watch some documentaries for school, and I have to finish off the rest of my crack. So, all right, I'm going to go ahead and talk about Russell's question, which is talk about your evolution as a coach and athlete, or coach/athlete, and how you manage the two with school. And the answer is barely. But responding to the first part, I'll talk the first part first. I feel like it's very hard to be a coach and athlete at the same time. That's something I found out. And by that I mean being a coach and then trying to coach yourself as an athlete. It's very challenging. And, no matter how objective you try to be, like, hey, I know I need to do this, I should do that. In the end, you're always going to kind of list toward what you want to do. Like, I was putting my squatting all the time because I like back squatting. And in my head, I would justify it as, hey, like, I've got to have a big back squat for weightlifting, so I should back squat all the time because I like it. And I'm good at it. And I really didn't need that. And, one of the first things that happened when Autumn took over my programming was I back squat less. I think I only back squat twice a week, from back squatting 6 times a week. And I front squat more, and I do heavy pulls more. And so from that aspect, I find it a lot easier. I'm still a coach, but I don't coach myself as an athlete. And furthermore, Autumn's a better coach than I am. Anyway, so I'm pretty lucky there. As an athlete, I've come a pretty far way. When I first stepped into CrossFit Combat Fitness, where I train now, I couldn't do a proper front rack. I could barely do an overhead squat. I could snatch 40 kilos on a good day and clean 60. I couldn't even do a jerk at all. I can now snatch in a little over a year and a half later. I can snatch 90 kilos, clean and jerk 112. So I've got immensely stronger. And coaching-wise, I'm a lot better. I had no idea how to program when I first got there either. I thought I did, but I didn't. And probably the best decisions in my entire life was, as soon as I got hired on intern, I went to Autumn and I was like, hey, I can't program. Teach me how to. And she took me under her wing. She taught me just about everything I know. And our style of programming are very similar, of course, now. But, she was taught by this premier strength conditioning coach in the nation who's just this fantastic guy, and so he imparted all this knowledge into her, and so I got all his knowledge that he taught her, plus what she's learned over the years, and so I'm extremely fortunate, that I've grown leaps and bounds to the point where I do feel confident now programming for other people. one of my athletes just did like a 5 kilo PR clean jerk, which is awesome in 4 weeks. So not that I'm a great coach now, but I've come a lot farther. I can program now. When I first started programming it, and I would sit down for 30 minutes to write one workout. Now I can sit down for 3 hours and write a week, kind of thing. It still takes me a long time, where it might take an hour, but I'm getting there, and I can program now, and everything's starting to get more cohesive, which is really cool to see myself grow that way. Regarding balancing this with school, that's really the hard part. And not in the sense where I can't find time to work out. I can still, if I need to, find time to train 7 times a week. But it's the recovery that's the really difficult part, because school takes a lot out of me sleep wise. I normally average between 5 and 7 hours of sleep, but normally more towards 5. Just being stressed out, all that. So I'm in the right now, for example, I'm in the training, and I'm in the 80-90% range for all my strength work. So it's a pretty challenging rep scheme. But over Christmas break, when I was sleeping a lot and I didn't have a lot of stress, I was training 6 times a week, no problem in this range. I had no issues. Excuse me. It's my morning energy drink, burps. But now, I'm struggling managing 4 times a week in that volume and that intensity, just because school is so taxing on me. And I know that school comes first before training as much as I don't want it to sometimes. And so that's the challenging part, is just prioritizing. I can find the time to work out, but finding the time to be properly recovered is very challenging for me right now. And something I'm still trying to figure out, that nice balance of, hey, I've got to sleep, hey, I need to relax, but hey, I'm a student and I'm an athlete and I have a job and I have another job, in the form of my internship, and trying to balance all of those without just falling apart is kind of challenging. I think I'm doing an okay job. But yeah, as an athlete, I think it's just finding a balance, with school. And so if anyone else is my situation, you probably figured it out by now. But my advice is, still train, don't neglect that, and just try to sleep as much as you can. And it's not going to be ideal, and you just have to get through it till the summer where you can really go ham. That's my advice. Just try to make it through. Last question is from Anna. Actually, 2 questions. Would you tell someone who's transferring, doing cleans with the smaller weighted barbells to the full-size 45-pound bar? A big thing here is, can you hit and fit it around the bar? And some ladies have a smaller hand. That's usually the women's barbell. It's actually a smaller diameter. If your hand can fit around the men's barbell and the hump, you can do the hook grip, and that's all fine, good to go. Go for it. I know like a lot of our girls or CrossFitter girls like to lift with the men's bars, just the way they are. So if you can fit around the 45-pound bar and it's a good bar and it spins well, go for it. Next, what would you tell a newbie to the sport tell someone who's not a complete newbie to the game of Olympic lifting, but still fresh in terms of form, rack position, and ways to get more leg use out of the sport, or out of the movements. In terms of form and leg use, find a good coach. There's no substitute for having a good coach that's there, that can work with you, that can help you. Nothing I can say here without seeing what your lifts look like, what your technique looks like, could do a lot to help you. When you're looking for a coach, for someone who's actually who's been in the game for a while, has a USAW or something, you can normally just tell. They should be pretty proficient themselves. The nice thing about CrossFit, there's a lot of coaches out there who can now coach weightlifting. Maybe not an elite level, but at least they have a kind of an idea of what's going on. So kind of just look out. If you can find a weightlifting club in your area, awesome. Go do that. I would be more than happy to look at any videos you have, but there's better people out there, and there's no substitute for actually being there in person to look at the lifts. I can't actually talk about the rack position, though. So I'm assuming you're talking about the front rack, where the barbell is held in front. And so the goal with the front rack is to have the bar on the shoulders. Okay, as you go here, I'm going to have the bar along the shoulder, and that's where the bar is going to rest. The fingers and hands there are just there to kind of keep the bar in place, but to not take the brunt of the weight. So the more fingers you can keep on the bar and keep the bar on your shoulders, great. For a lot of guys, that's going to be 2 fingers. If you can keep 3, 4, and even keep a full hook grip on the bar and still have that bar on the shoulders, fantastic. But the moment that you try to put too much of the hand on the bar and the bar comes on the wrist, then we run into issues. So whatever you've got to do, if you can do a full grip, that's fine. Keep it on the shoulders. If it's only 2 fingers, That's fine. Personally, I'm between 2 or 3 fingers. I'm trying to work up to actually keep my hand all on the bar the entire time. You want a good example of that? Just go look at Cole Clapp. I mean, he never loses his hook grip like the entire lift. It's pretty impressive. But kind of just do whatever's most comfortable for you as long as the bar stays on the shoulders. If you want have any more questions, again, I'll be happy to answer them. But without actually seeing your lifts or coaching in person, I'm always a little bit shy and cautious about offering too many technical cues.